Hi, I'm Aeon. There's a video. Also, before we begin this whole thing, if you think this video is going to be helpful and you really appreciate the fact that I'm trying to learn you guys my favorite extreme demon, hit the subscribe button. Why not? I'm here pumping out content for you almost every single day, streaming on Twitch, on here on YouTube as well. Hit the subscribe button, show some support. I would really appreciate that. Thank you. So, what we're going to be doing today is, as promised, I was going to tell you guys how to beat Killbot. As a lot of you guys have seen, I've recently beaten Killbot, and I said that it is my new favorite extreme demon. And for that, I want to teach people how to love Killbot, because Killbot has infamously been like a very trashed on extreme demon. A lot of people would say it's like, oh, it's terrible, it plays ass, all that stuff, right? And while it is completely valid for you to not like the decoration, I like the decoration personally. That's personal preference, personal opinion. A lot of people rack down on the gameplay of Killbot, even though I personally think it's fantastic. And as you can see on Doggy's video, which has been released or will release very, very soon, depending on when you watch this video, every person who beats this level likes it. And I want to kind of like prove that by teaching you guys and showing you guys the best way to go about learning Killbot so you can play it yourself, so that more people can enjoy it, because I genuinely do think it is one of the single most enjoyable extreme demons out there. The gameplay has a fair share of timings, it is fun, it is engaging, it has a lot of really just naturally smooth transitions into the different gameplay, and it's just a blast to play. But the reason why a lot of people are intimidated to try Killbot is just, it's intimidating. We're just gonna hop into it, where I'm gonna show you guys what I did, what I personally did to go about it, and I'm gonna teach you some specifics about specific parts to make them easier for you guys to enjoy. Go here. That's not how you spell Killbot. There we go. We go Killbot right here. So what you want to do is you're gonna start off by just getting a copyable. I don't normally do copyables, but for Killbot, you need a copyable. We're going to enter the level, make it load for like 10 million years, because this level has a lot of objects for some reason. And we're gonna go here, okay? So we have a Killbot, we have the full level, yada, 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 just like this, all right? What we're gonna do is we're gonna go to all, so we have everything here. We're gonna go pause right here, we're gonna select all, and we're gonna have it load for a million years, because like that. And as you can see, everything is now selected. And you're wondering, hey, what does this do? It literally does nothing. What we can do, like this, if you can see here, as you can see here, 144,036 objects. We're gonna go to delete, enable details, and we're gonna delete everything. Again, load for a million years. What you're left with is an accurate representation of the layout of this. As you can see, you see all the gameplay, you see all the stuff, but with all the fakes. I don't like a lot of the layouts that are out there, because they just straight up delete the layouts, which I'm personally not a huge fan of, simply because learn it with the fakes is not that hard. And one thing I want you to do before we start anything is this part right here. This right here is the ball and spider duel. This part, with all the details deleted, you can't see anything. You literally cannot see anything. But what I want you to do is I want you to go here, and I want you to select all the blocks individually like this, and I want you to edit object and select literally any color. I would preferably go here, and I would just like scroll it up to like the 30s where there's nothing, and just change it to green. Change it to any green color, because what that makes it is that you can actually see what you're going to be doing. As you can see here, all of them have one. Remove the one so they don't pulse like that, and that should work. There we go. Okay. I don't know why that one's flashing red, but we don't need to care about that. Anyway, now that you have your layout, you've made everything that you want, I suggest starting this level from the back. Reason being is that this UFO that you see right here is absolutely insane. And when I say this UFO is insane, I mean this UFO is absolutely ridiculous. This UFO alone took me about 3,000 attempts to get down. The best way to go about this UFO, in my opinion, is to just practice it in the layout and practice it in the regular copy in tandem. So you want to do it until you're like semi-comfortable with it in the copyable, move over to practice mode, see where you struggle with it in normal, like with all the details, and then just practice that in the copyable until you get it down. I went back and forth between layout and non-layout on this UFO part for literally thousands of attempts until I got it down. This UFO does get consistent once you get it consistent, but it is a brutal part to get down. You will think to begin with that you are never going to pass this, ever. It took me 3,000 attempts to get this down a single time, and after I got it down a single time, it got easier and easier and easier, and at the end, I could do it about every 15, 20 attempts, more or less. I got lucky with the level. I only died there 3 times when I did the level myself, so I do realize that I got really lucky with it, but do not be discouraged by the fact that this part is quite literally impossible. As you can see, even though I've beaten this level, I'm still struggling with it on the layout because this level is, or this part is quite literally silent. I would probably argue that the UFO in this level is quite possibly the hardest part in any level that I've beaten myself. And then you just move backwards. With this ship in particular, what you want to do is you want to put the start position right above this block. That way you start in the ship. The nice thing about this, in all honesty, is that it lets you in on what the right blocks are. As you can see when I'm playing this, the orbs that I'm supposed to hit are flashing red, which makes this a much easier part to learn than you would think. As you can see, if we go into practice here again, you are given blocks like these to correct yourself in this part, okay? You do have recorrecting available for these parts. So I only click once in the straight fly. I go 1, 2, 1, 1, 2, 3, and then I hit the orbs as you're supposed to, which I found to be the more consistent way personally. So what I do, if the first orb you're supposed to hit after one of these straight flies is a green orb, click once. If not, click twice. I click once in this because there's a green orb here that you're supposed to hit. This one right here. Or 1, 2, 3, hit the red orb, go there. Pink, hold, hit the blue, yada yada yada. This one I actually hit twice, so you go 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. This green orb right here, the very last one, and the very last stray fly is absolutely brutal. Because as you can see, these kind of just like pop into existence. So it goes orbs, straight fly, orbs, and they just kind of pop in at you. What makes them hard is that they kind of pop in like immediately. If I can try and show. As you can see, if I hit play now, you will see that I just paused as it pops into existence. And you can see I've already passed the orb. I've already passed the orb as I pause my game. Oh, that was a terrible idea. So if we go here again, so if we go here and just play, that is where the orb is as you hit. So you have to do, the reason why I suggest only clicking once in the straight fly before the green orbs is because you need to be able to hit this as fast as humanly possible, and it lets you correct yourself much easier by doing one click. You go 1, 2, 1, 2, and then you hit the green orb. As you can see, that one pops into existence incredibly fast. So if we see here, as you can see, as it pops in, as the green orb pops in, I'm already past the green orb before it pops into existence. So you need to be incredibly fast on these. This ship part is primarily just, you just practice it until you get it down, essentially. This ship part is very consistent. You get it down in your muscle memory, and it gets really easy. This green orb is like the one hard thing. That green orb is the one thing in the ship part that will kill you once you get this ship part down. Other than that, I feel like this ship part is not one of the easier, surprisingly enough. This is still one of the harder parts of the level. It's not as hard as it looks. It's just kind of intimidating. So those two parts are like the first two that I would suggest just practicing. If you can get this ship part down and like somewhat get a hang of this UFO, I feel like you're good to go. That is like the two things that you need to do and get down before you start playing this level, and like if you want to do it. But be wary, UFO takes a long time to learn. Ship part kind of finicky, but it's honestly not that bad, if I'm being completely honest with you. It's not that bad, okay? So, now that we've gone through that, let's start from the very, very beginning. Alright, so let's hop into this. One of the things I like about doing the layout form like this is that it keeps all the fakes. And with all the fakes, or with all the fake orbs intact, you still get like the idea. But like, as you can see by this beginning, it is pretty straightforward. It's very straightforward. You can honestly just go about learning it like this because you can see where you're supposed to go, especially in this first, in the pre-drop, you can definitely see where you're going, basically at all times. So if I go through this again, like, there aren't any failable ways to go about this. So it's kind of like hard for you to not take the right path, if that makes sense. Maybe this part can be a little bit tricky, but it's also not that bad, you know? And then we get to the drop. This is where people start getting a little bit like not scared, but they're like, damn, that's kind of hard. So what you want to do is you want to hit these two. You want to hit those two green orbs. There's very little timing to them. You're just kind of hit it to the beat. It's like, you know, bam, bam. You want to hit 1, 2, 1, 2, 1. This is the first timing I would say will give you some form of trouble, especially with full detail. This blue orb, you can hit this blue orb very early. You can see very clearly if I go here that you have to hit this blue orb very late, because if I hit it too early, if I hit it in the middle, you're gonna crash onto the side here. You have to start falling down pretty drastically before you hit the blue orb. So that one is pretty rough in the beginning. There's not really much timing to that. You just kind of just don't want to hit that green orb. I hit this green orb quite a few times where it's just like you do that. So make sure that you fall down and jump. What you're aiming for is that you're aiming for this blue portal, which has a black orb in it, which you just double tap essentially. So if you look here, if we go here, fall down, go up, you go 1, 2, and then you land on this block. This little double click right here with the black orb and the blue orb is, in my opinion, that part is very, very difficult, and it will take some time to learn and get down. But it's not that bad once you finally get it. So you fall down, hit that green orb, hit that blue orb, go through, go into this portal, hit that green orb, and you just fall. Then this part is infamously difficult. From this platform onto this block right here, and then go up and kind of like snake your way through. Then you hit that red orb, which is off screen, but it's a memory level. It doesn't really matter. You're not supposed to see everything anyway. Hit this green orb, and then what you want to do, I found to be arguably the hardest part here, is that you have to wait with clicking here a little tiny bit, because as you can see, there's a platform up here. You are normal gravity as you hit this from being upside down, go normal, so you're on this block right here. You have to wait, otherwise you crash or you change gravity into this block, which will make you fall in and crash into the side of this block. So you'll need to wait, like so. So you fall between these two, hit that blue orb, hit that red, and then you hit those. Did you catch that? This part is very simple. It looks kind of tricky, but it's just, you literally just hold. Again, let's speed hack this. You jump on this. If we can do here. Jump, hit green orb, hit black, hit dash orb. That sounds very difficult. It really does. And now that I'm saying it out loud, it sounds a lot harder than it really is. But it really isn't. Because there aren't many other things that you can hit. So it's not like a huge deal. I think personally the hardest part about this section right here, I think this little segment right here is arguably the hardest part, because you have to jump off this after using the dash orb, which is way harder than it looks. You have to jump off, hit this, and then go. It is possible to just fall down and hit that, but I've find this to be harder because it's like a much more finicky timing, and if you miss the light tiny window, which is like right here, you will miss it. So I prefer to just jump off, so that is the higher chance. It's still very hard and it's a very difficult timing, but overall it works. You land on that, go up, hit that, go down, land on that, hit the green orb, hit the blue orb, which is a very fast succession. This is like a part that you can just like 1, 2, 3, 4. You go 1, 2, 3, 4, and then that's pretty much all you do. You go 1, 2, 1, 2, 3, 4, and then on the last one, if we go here again, on the very, very last one, after the 1, 2, 3, 4, you wait for a split second before going up again, because you go 1, 2, 3, 4, like so. And then on the last one, as you can see, if I go up immediately, as you normally would, a lot of people would, you will just go up there. So you have to wait for a split second, go up like so, you wait, hit that red orb, don't click anything, wait until you land here, you go 1, 2, 3, like so. So you go 1, 2, 1, 2, 3. So what I do, I go 1, 2, And then I purposefully wait as late as I can to hit the blue orb that you're supposed to hit, because one thing I've noticed personally is that if you hit it too early and you go just spam like normally, you have a chance of hitting this orb right here. So if you go 1, 2, 3, like a lot of people do, you will just end up hitting that. So I find it better to just wait, and then as you pass the block, like as you start passing the block and you turn upside down, you go 1, 2, 3, like so. And then comes what is, in my opinion, probably the biggest run killer. These 3 orbs right here are very fucking hard, to put it blunt. There's a block there. Why there's a block there, I no clue. So you have to hit that pink orb late. You have to hit them extremely quickly. And then you want to hold, because as you can see, there's a pink orb there. You can't hit that pink orb if I can even get it. Like so. It's hard. I took a long time to learn this mace. This mace is like infamously probably the most like scary people for a lot of people. But this part gets incredibly consistent, okay? Just trust me on that one. It's just a little bit scary to begin with. But once you have the pathing down and you can start doing like runs on it, this part becomes very, very satisfying and very enjoyable to play. Like unironically. Because there aren't like too strict timings. Like none of the timings are like incredibly strict. But none of them are like too strict to the point where it gets annoying because you can't see what you're doing and what you're dying to. You will always know what you died to, which is one of the things I like about this level. I hate not being able to tell what kills me, but with this level, you will always be able to tell what is killing you. It's just learning the path is the hardest part. That's always the hardest part about memory, but if you're just willing to put in the time necessary to learn this level in its entirety, I think you're going to end up loving this level. But like after this, there's not much memory left. You just kind of like 1, 2, 3, 1, 2, 3, 4, 1, 2, 3, 1, 2, 3, 4, 1, 2. One of the things that I feel like a lot of people miss on their first time playing with this wave in particular, because the wave seems to give a lot of people trouble, remember that you have to focus on this UFO. With the UFO, you go 1, 2, 3, 4, which is why you do 1, 2, 3, 4 as the wave here. Remember that these exist, okay? Remember these blocks right here. After your 1, 2, 3, 4, a tiny, teensy bit of an auto. You get bumped up here, which is why you can do 3 here as well. You can go 1, 2, 3, because you're just gonna fall into that and get bumped up by this, and then you go 1, 2. But remember that these exist because you are going to space out your 4-2 click pattern. You're going to go 1, 2, 3, 4, wait for a second, then 1, 2. So that you get into this little thing first, okay? As you can see by that, after your 1, 2, 3, 4, you get put into this, you wait a little bit, then you go 1, 2, which is very consistent. I've heard a lot of people be like, oh, I just spam here. Don't spam here, because the reason why you don't spam is because of the UFO. If you spam, you have a chance to just like fall into this or crash into anything really. So just maintain consistent click patterns the entire way through, and you will be very surprised at how consistent this is. Now, I will 100% admit this little thing right here, that's going to be annoying. You're going to die to that. I died to that a lot. I had like 15, 20 deaths to this thing alone. So be wary of that. It's going to get a little bit annoying, but that's about it. The UFO wave part gets very, very consistent. 1, then you go 1, 2, 3, go up here. Then you're 1, 2, 3, 4, 1, 2. And then we get into the funsy part. I think this is the most satisfying part of the entire level, personally. You get into this swing copter wave part, which is incredibly fun to play. It's very easy as well. So in the beginning here, you don't hit any of these orbs except for this yellow orb. You hit the yellow orb, then you go 1, 2, 3. Then as you exit this, you go 1, you go down with the ball, hit the yellow orb, 1, 2, 3, 1, 2. Then you hit this blue orb, and that's about it. Then you just recorrect yourself into this straight fly. Straight fly, swing copter. I will admit, I find this swing copter to be really hard. It's a little bit finicky because you have a lot of momentum in that part, so it's kind of difficult to like get down. Then this wave is just about learning. The wave part is all about learning. It's surprisingly hard, honestly. I died to that wave part a lot when I tried to beat this. I think I had like 6 or 7 deaths to this, but that's only because you're visually impaired for the most of the part. So you can't really see what you're supposed to be doing. So you're kind of like struggling to see. And there are some parts where the decoration is in front of your wave, which makes it even harder. And all the flashes and all that stuff. So it's pretty difficult, but you just kind of get it down. It's not the hardest wave in the world. Like, as you can see, there is quite a decent amount of space. But you really just follow along the bottom here. What I did is just, I follow along the structure at the bottom. And then just kind of like go from there. So what I do is I just follow the bottom here, the path. And then I go up here, enter this, and there you go. What should I even say about this duel at the end here? Is not really that bad, honestly. So what you want to focus on is, you want to focus on the robot here. This cube has to start falling before you jump past the robot. So just wait until you see the robot is at like the very end of the block. When you're at the like very end of the block, jump. A lot of the focus is just on that. Just like jumping a little bit late or a little bit early. So you go early, jump, jump, jump. Here you can just fall down. Bold Step in his video jumps from this platform. I have no clue why he does that. He just kind of does. You can just fall down. Like most of the time. It's slightly buggy, which is kind of annoying. But for the most part, it works perfectly. Yeah, I don't know why that happens occasionally. That's kind of weird. It's just, you pretty much just learn this. With the layout version that I'm showing you, it's very easy to learn all the things that you're supposed to learn. There is this thing right here. We're gonna make that green because you have to see that, because that saw right there is very, very vital to this entire section. So you wanna buffer, buffer, buffer. Wait on that fourth click. You go 1, 2, 3, 4. Wait. Go up. Just kind of feel your way through. It's kind of like 1, 2, 3, 4. 1, 2, 3, 4. Kind of like that. There's a very simple pattern to this. You'll land on block, fall down from block, click. And you have to learn whether or not you're supposed to buffer or if you're supposed to click a little bit late. Essentially, what you want to do is you just want to learn all the individual clicks and play this layout a decent amount. I think I put like 3,000 attempts into the layout before I started working on the actual level. And once you start learning the actual level, just grab another copy of it and then rinse and repeat the exact same process that you just did. Except this time, you play it with all the details, everything as it was. And then over time, you will be able to learn and pick everything up. This level is very different to play with the layout, or with the layout relative to the actual level. What you want to focus on is just, with the layout, don't learn don't learn visual cues. Visual cues will not help you in the layout. The only thing you want to do is, with the layout, is learn the clicks and what clicks you have to do so that you can go into the actual level with full detail and see past all the decoration. You want to start learning muscle memory for this level and visual cues by starting to alternate between main level and layout. The layout is only there so you can learn the clicks so that you can move forward without the layout as we go. So essentially what you want to do is just practice the layout until you get like a general understanding of how you two should play the layout. Start with the ship and start with the UFO. Move back to the beginning, practice all the memory, and then once you feel like you know how the clicks work, don't do runs and stuff on the layout, but once you understand how the clicks work, you can start learning and practicing in the actual level. And if you're struggling to understand what you're dying to, or just struggling to understand a part in the actual level, go back into the layout and try and weed out your mistake. So essentially, if we want to rewind a little bit and just go about it methodically, what you want to do is this. First of all, start by getting a level, getting a Killbot copyable, be on the all tabs so that you can see every single layer of the level. Select all, delete all details, change the spider ball parts to delete the number 1, delete group 1 from all the blocks, make them green so you can see the blocks. Then practice the UFO and ship initially. Focus on those primarily to begin with because those are the hardest part of the level. They will take you the longest and they will be your biggest roadblock. See if you are comfortable with those. If you're able to do that, practice it from the beginning. Learn the layout. Not to the point where you can do incredible runs on it, but to the point where you can know the gameplay so you can go into the actual level with full detail, work on the level as it is then and there, and you can learn your way through the level like that. If you're struggling with a part, go back into the layout, practice it again, go back into the copyable with the full detail, and practice it, rinse and repeat. Use both the layout and the actual level to learn the level, and you're gonna have an amazing time with the level. It's a super fun level, and I really hope to see a lot more people beat this level. If you found this helpful, why not hit the subscribe button? I would really appreciate that. Thank you so much for all the support recently. I'll talk to you guys later. Remember to eat your greens. Goodbye, everybody.